3:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am not Brian Wilson. My name is Chris Hand, filling in for Brian on the drive today. Chris Webber producing, Ken Weaver in the newsroom. You may be wondering, who the heck am I? I'm the guy that does 9 to 12, so if you've never heard me before, it's because we both work during the day. You can always catch my regular show on the podcast page on 997WTN.com or in the Apple Podcast or Spotify, but I'm blessed to be able to fill in today for my friend Brian while he is off, and we got a big day. There was a lot of news that happened overnight, and then a lot happened between 12 and 3 as well, so we're going to cover all of that. I want to start with the most recent updates on the assassination attempt on Donald J. Trump, the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump. You may not have heard this today, but it was quite shocking when I caught wind of it. Matt Gaetz was on the air with Breitbart News Daily, and he had a shocking claim that there are at least 5 teams in the country, 3 foreign in nature, 2 domestic, that are trying to assassinate President Trump currently. Blew my mind. This is what he had to say on Breitbart News today.
What were you saying about these 5 assassination teams?
We are aware of at least 5 teams in country that are geared toward killing Trump. And I think, 3 of them that we know are foreign in nature. 2 of them we know are domestic in nature. And that calls for a forced protection that we do not have around the former president right now.
Yeah, I would think that would call for more protection around the president that we don't have currently. At what point do we just start having tanks in his motorcade? Honestly, at the very least, drones and people to check the perimeter would be nice, would it not?
Okay, who were you talking to that talked about
this?
A
senior Department of Homeland Security official met with me, said they were aware of this and were concerned that the Secret Service was not providing sufficient support.
If you have 5 assassination teams that you know of in the country trying to kill President Trump, yeah, I think not sufficient support is putting it lightly. How is it that a nation like Israel has the technology to track shipments that are going to Hezbollah terrorists and can put explosives inside pagers, but we can't find these guys currently as it is? How is that?
Was this like a hearing, or was this like in your office?
In my office.
This conversation. Okay. Now listen, Congressman, I'm just a guy here. I don't know things. Why are these people? What do we do? Why are we just having assassination teams walking around?
Well, one reason is because when they entered the country, there was insufficient scrutiny to stop them from doing so. Right? I mean, the 3 of these teams are foreign inspired, from my understanding. Iranians, Ukraine, Pakistan, and the work is obviously challenging to protect the protective detail like a presidential campaign that is vigorous and out campaigning. But the concern that this person brought to me, and we're still investigating it, is whether or not, given this threat environment, you've got the right sniper teams, the right tactical teams, that when you are having a movement of the campaign, that you've engaged sufficient local law enforcement, and that you've got other resources. And, we've seen a few times where resources have been pulled off of the Trump detail for the Jill Biden detail or for the John Bolton detail. And we're going to question whether or not that was sound given what we knew about the efforts to kill Trump.
Now, I don't know if you caught it. I heard the Iranian thing, and I've heard that before, but the one that stood out to me was Ukrainian, because what do we know about Ryan Routh? We know that he was actively trying to bring fighters over to Ukraine. Like, the Ukraine ties are there, and they're huge. They're massive. Who's investigating this? I understand that DeSantis has launched his own team in Florida to do an investigation on that assassination attempt. But golly, does that not make the hair on the back of your neck stand up? Put goosebumps on your skin, knowing that a guy like Matt Gaetz, who is very well connected, is saying that There are 5 assassination teams roaming around the United States, and we don't know where they are. We don't know who they are. We're not going on offense. It seems like we're just waiting for another shoe to drop, does it not? It feels like we're waiting for another shoe to drop. And when you heard Matt Gaetz say, well, the reason that they're in the country is because we don't have enough scrutiny down on the southern border. Well, whose job is that? That's Kamala Harris's job. And today, a former Border Patrol chief, Aaron Hike, he testified before Congress that he was ordered by the Biden-Harris administration to cover up the number of terrorists arriving at the border, special interest aliens. This is what he had to say earlier today.
In San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border.
Don't tell anybody about it. And to his point, those are only the significant interest aliens that they caught. Wild.
Fentanyl is another issue. The San Diego area sees between 80 and 90% of the methamphetamine and fentanyl seizures annually for our entire country. With little enforcement at the border, these drugs were coming through en masse. During my last year in San Diego, the price for a single pill of fentanyl, for example, went from $10 to 25 cents. To make matters worse, during 2022 and 23, I had to shut down San Diego traffic checkpoints, which are critical for drug interdiction, because the resources had been diverted to the process and release mission.
Resources being diverted to process and release. I understand the fentanyl stuff is shocking as well, but thinking about the security aspects of this, oh my gosh. We have a wide open southern border. The Biden-Harris administration doesn't want them telling people the number of significant interest aliens that are coming across. And we have Donald Trump with apparently 5 assassination teams in the country targeting him. When is this madness going to end? When is it going to get better? It doesn't seem like it's going to get better. It just seems chaotic. Behind the scenes, it has to be chaotic. We still don't know anything about the first assassination attempt. America First Legal is suing the Secret Service, the DHS, and more for hiding records on that Trump assassination attempt. America First Legal today sued the Secret Service and the Department of Homeland Security for illegally withholding records on the first assassination attempt against former President Trump. The organization launched multiple investigations on an expedited basis on July 16th, 3 days after the assassination attempt that grazed Trump's head. A shot that would have killed him, should have killed him, but by the grace of God did not. America First Legal requested via the Freedom of Information Act documents detailing the Secret Service's potential staffing shortages, the agency's hiring and employment standards, and communications to and from DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and 2 other senior DHS officials, Christy Cangello and Jonathan Davidson, on the day of the attempt. America First Legal also requested calendars from key Secret Service government officials, including to the director and deputy director. To date, AFL has not received any of the requested records, despite requesting expedited processing and meeting all of the standards in law to receive such expedited proceedings. It's like these guys are just stonewalling the investigation every step of the way. Does anybody feel like they're actually trying to keep President Trump safe or let the information out about what happened? Because I don't feel that way. I don't. According to America First Legal, the Secret Service in July said it would not expedite any of this stuff. And AFL's FOIA request on staffing shortages, since there was no threat to the life or safety of anyone and that there was no urgency to inform the public about government activity, AFL noted that the Secret Service did grant its request for expedited processing of the FOIA and another request that used the same justifications. Even Democrats are slamming DHS's lack of attention to all of this. Richard Blumenthal is a guy that has been slamming DHS's lack of attention to this, which is, in all honesty, it's surprising to me that Blumenthal is out in front for the Democrats in this arena. But he is. Blumenthal has been saying what you'll find out that he's heard in classified briefings is shocking and will shock the American public. This is what he said on record on that Trump assassination report.
I think the American people are going to be shocked, astonished, and appalled by what we will report to them about the failures by the Secret Service in this assassination attempt on the former president. But I think they also ought to be appalled and astonished by the failure of the Department of Homeland Security to be more forthcoming, to be as candid and frank as it should be to them in terms of providing information. And we are going to absolutely insist on the truth and the whole truth in documents and testimony as members of the United States Senate, but also as citizens.
What did you learn new today when you said they're going to be appalled?
I'm not going to go into what we have learned in specifics. I'm giving you my reaction. And we will have a report very, very soon that I think will absolutely shock the American people, or it should, about the lapses and lags in the protection that was afforded that day and the breakdown in communication, failure and responsibility.
Is that report coming today or tomorrow?
I'm sorry?
Is that report coming out tonight or tomorrow?
No.
No, and we still don't have that report. So just to recap, Matt Gaetz today on Breitbart News says that there are currently 5 assassination teams out and about, just hanging out in America, where the 3 of them are foreign, 2 domestic. They want to take out Trump. There was a testimony today from a Border Patrol chief, Aaron Heike, testifying before Congress that he was ordered by the Biden-Harris administration to cover up the number of terrorists arrested at the border. And just in case you haven't had your mind blown yet, wait, there's more. There's more. Apparently, there may have been another assassination attempt or attack on President Trump at a Tucson rally. This time, a chemical attack. Luckily, President Trump wasn't harmed in this, but at his rally in Tucson just a few days ago, people left that rally that were sitting on stage, sharing the same stage with President Trump, and they left without eyesight. Yes, you heard me correct. They left without eyesight. I'll tell you their story. I'll let them tell you their story when we get back. It's Chris Hand filling in for Brian Wilson on The Drive. Happy to do it. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
A group of scientists is claiming new evidence that COVID-19 spread to humans from animals. Details at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Science bless America, am I right?
I heard that this morning.
It's so good. I'll play that later on today. It's 3:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I'm filling in for Brian Wilson today on The Drive. Happy to be here and, grateful that I have an opportunity to introduce myself to a lot of the audience that doesn't normally hear me. I usually host 9 to noon, doing a double today. If you ever want to check out my show, you can always find it on the podcast page on Apple or Spotify or the 99.7 WTN app. Okay, so the Tucson rally that Donald Trump held just a couple weeks back. Was there an attempt on Trump at that rally? I know. Another attempt, you might ask? It certainly seems that way. And local news out in Tucson is covering this in a very, very serious way. Apparently, people were sitting on the stage behind Donald Trump. There were two sets of bleachers behind Donald Trump, stage right, stage left. On stage right, the people sitting in those bleachers came down with some sort of burning sensation, and some of them lost eyesight because of what people are questioning could have been a chemical attack.
Supporters of former President Donald Trump that were allowed to sit behind his stage at his Tucson rally last week tell the News 4 Tucson investigators they left with mysterious injuries to their eyes. News 4 Tucson's chief investigative reporter Course Nylander is live outside the Tucson Music Hall downtown. Course, what are we learning about their situation?
Yeah, well, Monica, this is where thousands of people came out to hear former President Donald Trump speak last week. There was a group of 48 people allowed to sit on stage behind Trump throughout the event. They were split into two groups on each side of the stage. One side seemed to walk away without any issues, but multiple people seated near each other on the other side tell me that they had to go to the emergency room after they left the event. Here tonight, for the first time, the Trump campaign is confirming that they're investigating this situation.
So the Trump campaign is taking note of this, and they're investigating exactly what happened in Tucson. But then the news story continues, and you hear from a former Hillary supporter who is now a Trump supporter who is sitting on stage behind Donald Trump. And as she's giving this interview, she lets everyone know that she can no longer see.
Some of his biggest supporters were allowed to sit behind him on stage. Supporters like Myra Rodriguez, a former director of Planned Parenthood with a notable shift to being pro-life. In 2016, she sat behind presidential candidate Hillary Clinton on stage at an event. Now she supports Donald Trump. She enjoyed the rally, but once she left, everything changed.
As soon as we left and I stepped outside, I started feeling like my eyes were burning.
At first, she thought it might be allergies. She lives near Phoenix. By the time she got home, it was so bad she decided to go to the emergency room.
The emergency room staff keeps saying, from the triage nurse to the PA, and are you sure you're not going to spray anything? Your symptoms look like you were spraying something.
The News 4 Tucson investigators spoke to her the morning after the rally, Friday last week. That morning, she was nearly blind.
I can't see anything. When I try to open my eyes, it's like a white cloud covered. It hurts. It hurts a lot to open my eyes. I have this cold cloth that I put on and I take off all the time. But this is horrible.
Yeah, and it does look horrible when you see this poor woman sitting there. She has a cold compress over her eyes. And again, this happened last week. She's still dealing with this, and I feel for her. But it wasn't just her. It wasn't just her. There were other people that were in that same seating area, stage right, behind the president, that had the same symptoms popping up. Is this not insane to anyone? Shouldn't this be a major network story that you see on ABC, CBS, NBC? I think so, considering the president has dealt with now 2 assassination attempts.
She says the doctors weren't able to determine what exactly caused it. Her initial thought of allergies went out the window when she heard from several others seated next to her at the rally that also ended up seeking medical attention with the same symptoms.
Kept getting worse and worse. My eyes started watering a lot. My nose started running. Then I started feeling my face get really flushed, and then my neck felt like it was on fire. And it just progressed from there.
This Tucson woman, who doesn't want to be identified, was seated in the same area behind Trump with her brother. Both walked away with eye injuries and sought medical attention.
It's insane. It's insane. The Trump team is investigating. Again, it was only one group that was on stage right behind the president. It does seem like it was targeted in that area. What it was, nobody really knows. And if you judge what we're getting out of the investigations on the assassination attempts, well, we'll probably never know what happened here either. Wild. Donald Trump was out and about yesterday, though, and he made his way all over New York City, including a wild rally outside of Long Island. I'll bring you the latest audio from that, as well as his appearance on Gutfeld after the news with Ken Weaver, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and a traffic update in 5 minutes. Another member of Tennessee's congressional delegation speaking up in support of the device attacks on members of Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. Republican Congressman Dave Kustoff, representing the bulk of West Tennessee, including East Memphis, said the explosions send a strong message to Israel's enemies.
It seems like out of a spy movie, but these are real devices, and the Israelis have other means of attack if they need to attack.
Congressman Kustoff speaking with ABC News today at our nation's capital on a number of issues. Meanwhile, Hezbollah's leader today acknowledged that these device attacks dealt a severe blow, and they vowed to emerge stronger and continue daily strikes into northern Israel. Here in Tennessee, we have a preview of some of the legislation state lawmakers will be taking up in January. Education Instruction Subcommittee Chair Scott Sapicki telling WTN's Matt Murphy Show.
Basically a task force on how we're going to deliver and train our teachers in mathematics and how to teach it to our kids. That's going to be coming next year. Commissioner Reynolds and her staff is already working on that.
He says how Tennessee is conducting teacher evaluations is not working well right now, so lawmakers will be looking at states where it is working. And new research on how COVID-19 began. Derek Dennis reports this analysis published today in the journal Cell doesn't prove that animals were infected by the virus, but their DNA was found near, sometimes on the same swab.
Scientists researching the origins of COVID-19 have identified a list of animals that possibly spread COVID to humans. Researchers analyzed genetic material gathered from the Chinese market in Wuhan, where the first outbreak was detected, and found the most likely animals spreading COVID were raccoon dogs, civet cats, and bamboo rats. The scientists suspect the infected animals were first brought to the Wuhan market in late November 2019 and somehow infected the first humans, which then triggered the pandemic.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
3:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand, filling in for Brian Wilson today. It's a blessing to be able to be here with you. I usually host 9 to noon. I did that today as well. But, if you don't often hear me, it's because we both work at the same time. So you can always find the podcast on the Apple podcast page, on Spotify as well. We've been talking about Trump and the lack of security around him and the threats that just seem to be multiplying every single day. And I've had a couple people waiting on the line to chime in. Tony in Nashville wants to talk about the Trump attempts. Tony, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, Chris, you doing all right?
Yeah, man. How are you?
Good. My wife likes me again today. But what I was going to say is, man, people need to just stop messing around. All of you all. Just tell it like it is. There ain't no foreign countries trying to kill Trump. It's the Democratic Party that's trying to kill Trump. They behind it. They're financing it. I mean, just look at the participants.
But all you're doing is speculating. I mean, that's all we're all doing really currently at the moment is speculation. You can look at the two would-be assassins and make the case that they're radical leftists. But with a lack of information, we can't just say it's the Democrat Party trying to kill Trump. Like that's not how it works.
Well, why? I mean, why is he getting any information? Why ain't they divulging anything about the investigation? Because they don't want you to know.
It certainly seems that way, and it's that lack of information that leads us to all the speculation. I totally agree, Tony, and I appreciate the call. I don't know if it's the Democrats trying to kill Trump. I certainly could imagine that they would have an easier time winning in November if Trump wasn't around. But Tony, I thought Tony was going to go the other way at first. Did you see what happened on C-SPAN the other day? Like yesterday morning on C-SPAN, a guy called in and started praising the assassins, and they had to cut him off the air. I thought that's the route Tony was going to go, but Tony just wanted to blame the Democrats. I get it. I really do. This is that C-SPAN caller I was telling you about.
Willie, Democrat. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to say I'm a very patriotic American. I did 20 years in the military, 2 tours in Vietnam, wounded in 1966, went back in '68. And I look at myself and think about, as a military man, we're supposed to close, kill, capture, destroy the enemy by all means available. And to see we let this man Trump destroy America, and I look at it and say, well, these two people had to step up and take that shot. I'm 83, nothing to lose.
I'm sorry, Willie, you're not advocating violence, are you?
Not violence. I'm talking about defending my country.
All right. Dan in Louisville.
and they hang up on him real quick. I thought that's the route Tony was going to go at first. Full disclosure. I was ready for it. I was prepared for it. But Tony just wanted to blame the Democrats. I totally get why your mind would go there. I understand why speculation would lead you there. Because we aren't getting any information from the people that are supposed to be investigating this. Again, this is why I'm so glad that DeSantis has taken the bull by the horns here in Florida and said Florida is going to be doing our own investigation. DeSantis went on record and said, how can you trust the FBI and the DOJ when they're prosecuting Trump in Florida? How can you trust them to do an honest investigation when they've been after Trump for all this time? He's right, And I think we'll get more information out of what's happening in Florida than we will out of what happened in Butler because of DeSantis stepping up there, and I'm grateful for that. Dave in Smyrna wants to talk about Trump's security. What's up, Dave?
What's up, man? It's your favorite Hebrew.
Oh, what's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm good. I ever since the Butler thing, I've been wondering why Trump does not call Eric Prince or DJ Shipley from GBRS Group and get some of these ex-SEALs to start running security for him concurrent with the Secret Service. I think that's really, because you really can't, at this point, whether you can't trust the Secret Service or the government or you don't have any faith in them, I don't think they're equipped to deal with it. And now with the revelation that there are 5 assassination teams out there, why not have a bunch of former Tier 1 guys help augment his security. God knows, I'm sure Eric Prince, DJ Shipley, guys like that would jump at the chance to augment Trump's security.
Yeah, I don't know why he hasn't done anything like that yet either. And I also don't know if maybe he has done something like that. They just haven't broadcasted it.
That would make sense too. But Shipley's a really serious guy, and I certainly wouldn't want I've read his exploits and seen his interviews, and God knows I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to meet that dude in a dark alley and have him on the wrong side of me.
No, not one bit.
And the same goes for Eric Prince's outfit. But I think that's the route that Trump needs to go. It only makes sense.
Well, and if you keep asking DHS for more, you keep asking Biden for more, and you're not getting it, you're going to have to do it on your own, right?
Well, absolutely. And it's no secret that the CIA uses private contractors for deniable operations, just like they use private intelligence firms for deniable operations. There are organizations out there like that. Like I said, Shipley's organization, GBRS Group, does stuff like that. And that would be the type of organization that I would think would be perfectly suited for that kind of role.
Yeah, I hear you, man, and hopefully he's listening to people in his inner circle telling him the exact same thing. I appreciate the call, Dave, our favorite Hebrew there. He calls into my regular show all the time. He's a good guy. Good guy. He was talking about this clip I played a little while ago. Matt Gaetz was on Breitbart News Daily today, and Matt Gaetz revealed that Homeland Security official that he met with said they're aware of at least 5 assassination teams in the country, 3 foreign in nature, 2 domestic, that want to take out Trump.
What were you saying about these 5 assassination teams?
We are aware of at least 5 teams in country that are geared toward killing Trump. And I think, 3 of them that we know are foreign in nature, 2 of them we know are domestic in nature. And that calls for a forced protection that we do not have around the former president right now.
Okay, who are you talking to that talked about this?
A senior Department of Homeland Security official met with me, said they were aware of this and were concerned that the Secret Service was not providing sufficient support.
Was this like a hearing, or was this like in your office?
In my office.
This conversation. Okay. Now listen, Congressman, I'm just a guy here. I don't know things. Why are these people? What do we do? Why are we just having assassination teams walking around?
Well, one reason is because when they entered the country, there was insufficient scrutiny to stop them from doing so.
Yeah, insufficient scrutiny to stop them from entering the country. Wide open southern border. Whose fault is that? Yeah, I think we all know whose fault that is. Bill in Murfreesboro, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Bill?
Hey, Chris, I wonder if you're familiar with the election laws. We've never really had a faced possibility like this before. Could he be assassinated? Is Vance the automatic president to be, and he picks a new vice president to go with him? Or how is the election held? Is it
I don't know how that works, like a line of secession for a nominee. I would imagine if something of that nature happened, I think that we would have a lot bigger problems in this country than the who's going to be the candidate for the election. But your guess is as good as mine. I'll definitely look into it. I don't know how that works. I have no idea how that works. Scott on the road. You're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Scott?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I wanted to comment on the guy that was bringing up the idea of Trump hiring military guys to do, some security work.
Yes, sir.
Well, my first thoughts on that are, if, let's say they encounter a guy and they have to take him out, what's the ramification? The other side's going to say Trump's hiring killers. they're going to catch more problems. I mean, they're going to obviously take care of Trump and save Trump, but how is the other side going to paint this?
I mean, at that point, I wouldn't be worried about it. The guys had to deal with 2 assassination attempts that we know of, possibly a chemical attack in Tucson. You know, there could be 5 assassination teams running around the country right now, according to Matt Gaetz. I would ask for forgiveness and not permission. That would be my route.
I agree with that. You know what? That's great, but my mind goes to what are they going to say? They're going to have
Scott, what could they say about this guy that's worse than the things they've already said? I mean, it's the rhetoric that led to the assassin. If you're going to believe that the assassins, the would-be assassins, are the lone wolf lunatics, then they were radicalized by the rhetoric from the Democrat Party. So
I agree.
What,
I 100%
what could they say today that could be worse than what they've said already?
I don't know, but that was what come to my mind as I was hearing that fellow talk about, Trump hiring guys, and man, I just don't want to see them guys in trouble.
Part of me wishes that he would hire them just so that way they could say that. Could you imagine them having to try and clean that up? Oh, you're mad at Trump for hiring security after 2 assassination attempts?
Exactly. That's true. But that's where they're going to go.
Yeah, that's what they do. Low hanging fruit, right? Trump could cure cancer, and they'd say he put doctors out of work. That's how it would go. I got about 1 more minute. Brian in Nashville, real quick. What do you got, man?
How you doing? I agree with the hiring of the private security. Definitely. See, Trump's the kind of guy that I need, because I'm that working class guy that had to get a new job because of the way the economy is, and my wife had to work from home. I remember when I was a kid, I used to go out and my mom would say, "Come home when the street lights come on." We don't have that no more. I can't send my kids out there, and that's the guy we need in there. We need to protect him at all costs. And here I am from Nashville, and if I have to walk down there to his rally and stand in front of him so no one can get a shot off him, I volunteer.
I hear you, Brian, and I appreciate the call, man. 615-737-9986. If you're wondering where Brian is, he's off today. My name is Chris Hand. It's a blessing to be able to fill in for him and chat with you guys and be a part of the drive this afternoon. Normally, I'm hosting 9 to noon. You can always catch my show live online on the apps or after the fact on the podcast page. It's 3:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
We are monitoring breaking news out of Kentucky about a sheriff accused of shooting a judge. We'll tell you about it at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. I keep getting these text messages. Everybody are saying, don't you think it's weird both shooters were in BlackRock commercials? I've gotten like 10 of these text messages. Yes, I think it's weird. I think this entire situation is nuts. I think it's weird that Thomas Matthews Crook's apartment was found professionally clean with no silverware. I think it's weird that a phone connected to him was tracked moving between the FBI office and the shooter's location multiple times. I think it's weird how quickly he was cremated. I think it's weird that there was no toxicology examination released. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. I think it's weird that the other shooter had a backup plan, an escape route, and ties to Ukraine. There's a lot of weird, not a lot of answers. We'll dig into this more on the way. It's 3:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and a traffic update in 5 minutes. And right now in far southeast Kentucky, Channel 4 says a sheriff is accused of shooting a judge in the Letcher County Courthouse. Reports say that one person is dead. Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins is accused of shooting District Judge Kevin Mullins in his office. Now, the coroner is confirming one person is dead, but did not identify that person as Judge Mullins. This is about 291 miles east of Nashville. They're in southeast Kentucky. Right now in our nation's capital, ABC News questioned a member of Tennessee's congressional delegation on a number of issues today. 8th District Congressman David Kustoff spoke at on an event focused on anti-Semitism, which is going to be held tonight in Washington and led by former President Trump.
Donald Trump is the only one who is doing this outreach directly to the Jewish people, and I commend him for it.
Yeah, this event's going to take place before Trump speaks at a conference of the Israeli-American Council tonight. Also, in Lebanon, in the Middle East today, the Hezbollah leader reacted to Israel's attacks on handheld electronic devices The latest from Tom Rivers over at the Foreign Desk.
A somber tone from Hassan Nasrallah through a translator in a televised speech.
With this operation, the enemy crossed all rules, laws and red lines. It didn't care about anything at all. Not morally, not humanely, not legally.
He acknowledges the attack on the group's communications devices was a severe blow, but he vowed Hezbollah would emerge stronger and continue its daily strikes into northern Israel.
And right now in Middle Tennessee, a convicted felon facing charges after a shooting in Wilson County this morning. News 2 says Sumner County deputies arrested Dwight Corley during a traffic stop after deputies searched the vehicle and say they found a loaded firearm, shell casings, and multiple windows of that vehicle shot out. Now, this was after a man was found laying in a living room floor with a gunshot wound in Watertown. Deputies had responded after reports of gunshots on South Commerce Road around 3 o'clock this morning, where a neighbor reported hearing a gunshot, followed by a pause, then 2 additional gunshots, then a man banging on someone's window asking for help. And a deadly accident in Franklin. Channel 4 says a worker was killed from what police say was an accident operating landscaping equipment this morning, happening around 9:40 in the Stream Valley neighborhood. Police say it appears to be accidental. They're withholding the identity of the 37-year-old victim until the next of kin is notified. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
407 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how you doing? Filling in for Brian Wilson today. It's a blessing to be able to do so. Normally, I host 9 to noon. If you're working during that time, you never really get to hear me. It's okay. That's when I'm working too. But you can always check my show on the podcast page on Apple and Spotify. I appreciate you tuning in for as often as you do, a little bit, a lot of bit, however you do it. Thank you so much, and thank you to Brian for letting me fill in. We've been talking about Donald Trump. The big story breaking today is that Matt Gaetz says he met with a senior Homeland Security official, and that official told him that there are at least 5 teams in the country, 3 foreign in nature, 2 domestic, and these teams are geared toward assassinating President Trump. 5 teams in the country currently. Insanity. Absolute insanity. This is after the 2 assassination attempts that we know about. This is after what appears to be a chemical attack at a Tucson rally with Donald Trump. And yet it still seems like the security detail is lacking. It seems like it hasn't been beefed up the way it needs to be. And that's disappointing, to say the least. To say the least. Steve and Dan have been waiting to talk about the chemicals at the Tucson rally. What's up, Steve and Dan? How you guys doing?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. What are you guys thinking?
Okay, man. I've told you I've been in the military and I was a medic, so I've been trained on how to do biological, neurological, and all that kind of stuff on gases and that kind of thing.
Yep.
These are textbook conditions of sometimes like a mustard gas or first thing it does, it goes through this membranes. The first thing it does is it blinds you. And then it goes into your respiratory. And, I've had to do this for so long, 20 years. But have you ever seen Legend of the Falls?
I have not.
Okay. Well, the youngest kid it's a World War I thing. He gets mustard gas, and the first thing that goes is his eyesight.
Interesting.
So,
hey, let me reset real quick. If you weren't with us earlier, the story goes like this: at the Tucson rally, there are 2 sets of bleachers behind Donald Trump on the stage. Stage left, stage right. All of the individuals on the stage right bleacher, or a good number of them, came down with what appeared to be a chemical attack, a chemical reaction of some sort, leaving one woman blind, burning the throats, burning the skin of individuals. The Trump team is now investigating this as a possible attack. Do you think, with your background in chemicals, that they could target it to the point where only one half of the stage would be dealing with that?
Sure. It also means wind flow. Plus, they got to make sure it's small enough that it only takes a little bit of gas. So they got to be able to place it somewhere, be able to ignite it, But yes, I think the wind blew the wrong way, personally. And I think it was definitely going after Trump. And you can look up all through World War I and mustard gas and everything. It goes through all of it. It tells you, and they all have the same symptoms. That's the thing.
Interesting.
They all have the same symptoms. This was a coordinated attack, and I'll bet money on it.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you weighing in with your expertise. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I am not a chemical expert. All I can tell you is that all these people on stage right came down with the same symptoms. The hospital were asking if you were exposed to any chemicals. The Trump team has been notified, and they are investigating this very seriously. Another story that they're taking very seriously, the FBI saying that those Iranian hackers, do you remember this story, the Iranian hackers hacking into the Trump team? The FBI is now saying that those Iranian hackers sent unsolicited stolen Trump info to people associated with the Biden and Harris campaign. Yes. Iranian hackers stole sensitive information from the Trump campaign and then sent it to people affiliated with President Biden's now defunct campaign earlier this summer. Strange, right? Could you imagine if the shoe was on the other foot? If they had hacked into the Harris campaign and then sent it to Donald Trump? The media would be up in arms. Completely up in arms. Donald Trump mentioned this at his rally last night in Long Island, New York, talking about the Iranian hack and how they sent info to the Biden campaign.
And just today, 3 agencies of the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden administration, the FBI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they just released a report confirming that Iran actors hacked into the Trump campaign's email accounts and in turn sought to give the hacked materials to the Biden-Harris campaign. They gave them all of the materials because Biden is working with Iran, and Iran doesn't exactly like me because they were ready to make a deal, except we had an election that was rigged and stolen. And look at what's happening to our world now. But no, Iran hacked into my campaign. I don't know what the hell they found. I'd like to find out. Couldn't have been too exciting. But they gave it to the Biden campaign. I can't believe it. Oh, yes, I can. But this is really foreign election interference. This is real election interference, not the phony crap that they've been trying to pin on me with Russia for years.
That's Donald Trump reacting to that news. Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about it earlier this afternoon as well, and she said we had no idea. We had no idea that Iran hacked into the Trump campaign and then gave it to the Biden campaign.
The FBI and other U.S. intelligence agencies said that Iranian hackers sent stolen information from the Trump campaign to individuals associated with the Biden campaign. This is before President Biden left the race. So was the president made aware of this at the time?
So what I can say is that we learned about the statement yesterday, and the president has been made aware of it now. But we learned about the statement yesterday. Look,
we learned about it yesterday. Sure, Jan. Sure.
This is something that the FBI, ODNI, and CISA have to speak to. They put out their statement, so I would refer you to them specifically. But more broadly, what I can say about this is that no foreign government like Iran or Russia are actively seeking to influence in our elections. And so we have said that, we know that, and that's why you've seen us take actions to hold accountable those who seek to undermine confidence in our democracy, and we will continue to do so. And so that has been something that we've said from here. The ODNI has shared with the American people what we know about the foreign influence, including by making public the hack of the Trump campaign on August 19th. In early September, the Department of Justice brought criminal charges against those involved in covert influence operations on behalf of RT. And so this is something that obviously law enforcement is and our intelligence community is focused on, and so they're better to certainly speak to it directly.
So we had no idea, no idea, not at all. So the June to July breach took place before Biden dropped out of the race, and was part of Iran's efforts to sow discord and shape the outcome of U.S. elections, according to the FBI. The breach was uncovered after the hackers similarly sent stolen information from former President Trump's campaign to multiple major American media outlets. According to the FBI, Iran malicious cyber actors in late June, early July sent unsolicited emails to individuals then associated with Biden's campaign that contained an excerpt taken from stolen non-public material from Trump's campaign as text in the emails, the Bureau said in a joint statement with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, as Karine Jean-Pierre put it there. She said, we had no idea. We had no idea. None of the people connected to the Biden campaign who received the emails with stolen info replied to the hackers based on the investigation, the agencies said. Sure. Got it. The Harris campaign said that the emails were sent to individuals' private emails, and that none of the information was sent directly to the Biden campaign. In a statement, the Harris-Walz campaign spokesperson Morgan Finkelstein said, "We're not aware of any material being sent directly to the campaign. A few individuals were targeted on their personal emails with what looked like a spam or phishing attempt. So we didn't click it." Sure. Heck of a story. Stephen in Paris wants to talk about the Iran hack. What's up, Steve?
Hey, Chris. Hey, this has got some kind of weird, funny smell to it, this thing. It seems like this could be somebody in our government or somebody maybe in the Obama administration, somebody with ties to the deep state that's actually trying to make this look like an Iran deal, because they're never going to find any of these people in Iran. For one, we don't have anybody in Iran to find them. The only people that have connections to anybody in Iran would be the Obama administration deep state people. So if they're using VPNs or whatever from that location, but doing it here, it seems to me that there's got to be a reason for this, though, other than somebody in the FBI saw it and it was a low-level person maybe, and now they're trying to shuffle everything to make it look like it's, they're catching these Iran hackers. But I just don't think we're ever going to find people from Iran, and I don't understand what this is unless this is just the beginning of something that they're gonna use with Iran against us as a storyline to attack us. You know?
It definitely seems like Iran is the new boogeyman. It's Iran is going to be something that we're definitely going to be hearing more of. I think we can at least, rest assured that nobody in our government would ever spy on a political campaign, right?
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
Really, I don't know.
We don't have any examples of that, Steve.
Yeah, right. But hacking usually is more of a Chinese type deal. I don't really think Iran really invests much or does much into the whole hacking thing. But
I wouldn't. I wouldn't sell them short on hacking. I just wouldn't.
Okay.
Even North Korea has teams of hackers. Like that's day one stuff. Now, was this attributed to Iran? Officially, they're saying it was Iranian hackers that sent unsolicited information to the Biden campaign. That's the official story. Now, if there's anything I've learned, though, it's question the official story.
Yeah. Seems like they would just be trying to do this to figure out what the plans are for the Trump, for his team, in order to try to, foil his plans or something, and then use this Iran thing as a ploy.
Maybe. I mean, the one thing is for sure is like we're never good. This is going to disappear. This is going to get memory hold. We've already stopped talking about the first assassination attempt. They've done such an efficient job of memory holding that. I'm sure that this story is going to get swept under the rug as quickly as possible.
The only thing at the end of this road is a dark room that nobody will ever find anything.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, appreciate the call, Steve. On the way, I do want to play some audio of Donald Trump in Long Island. He had an amazing rally. He was on point. The energy was high. He actually believes that New York is in play. And while that's an uphill battle, you got to admire the confidence that this guy has. And like he says to the New Yorkers, what do you have to lose voting for Donald Trump? I'm going to play you some of that audio on the way. It's Chris Hand filling in for Brian Wilson on The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
A sharpened toothbrush at school today. Details at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 4:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand, filling in for Brian Wilson today on The Drive. Appreciate you tuning in. Donald Trump was busy yesterday. I mean, this guy was all over New York. You probably saw him on Gutfeld last night, but his rally in Long Island was unbelievable. And I got to tell you, when you listen to Trump talk, he honestly believes that he can win New York. Maybe he can. Maybe he can. It's going to be an uphill battle. Absolutely. But you got to love this guy's confidence.
And I'm thrilled to be back in the state I love with thousands of proud, patriotic New Yorkers who are really the heart and soul of America. We know that. And the reason I'm here is because it hasn't been done in many decades. It hasn't been done for a long time, but we are going to win New York.
Listen, if I've learned anything from Donald Trump is don't count him out, right? As soon as you start to count him out and you underestimate him, that's when he's got you. You know, if you listen to conservative media in 2021, he was done. He was cooked. There was no way he was coming back, and yet here we are today, and he's the Republican nominee for president. Don't count him out. He also said he has a message for Kamala.
Let me also deliver a message straight to Kamala Harris. Have you heard of her?
Have you heard of her? Do you know who she is? Very terrible woman.
Who, by the way, was just rated by far the most liberal senator in the U.S. Senate, more so even further left than Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas. She's more so. Elizabeth Warren, she's more left than Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. Let me also deliver a message straight to Kamala Harris, the radical left Democrat politicians, and the fake news media. Look how many are there.
All right, so two things. I love that he emphasizes Beth and Elizabeth Warren. And also, he brings up the 2019 most radical senator thing. And while we know this and we've heard this over and over, in music radio, they always tell you as soon as you get used to hearing something, the majority of the audience is just learning it. So that repetition is key. It's key to keep repeating that.
We've got to get our media back in this country. We've got to get them back. But the message is it's time to stop the lies, stop the hoaxes, stop the smears, stop the lawfare or the fake lawsuits against me, and stop claiming your opponents will turn America into a dictatorship. Give me a break. Because the fact is that I'm not a threat to democracy. They are.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. They're the ones that have weaponized the DOJ. They're the ones that have gone after Trump every step of the way. He's not wrong. He had a lot more to say, and he talked about that assassination attempt in Florida. We'll bring that to you after the news with Ken Weaver, which happens right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Channel 4 says a middle school student in Rutherford County was allegedly poked in the back by another student with a sharpened toothbrush today. It happened at Siegel Middle School. The sheriff's office says a 7th grader did this. The 12-year-old boy apparently showed a toothbrush that had been sharpened down outside a restroom and then did a stabbing motion and hit another child in the back. Now, the sheriff's office says that student was not hurt, but it could have caused serious injury. So the student with the toothbrush was charged with aggravated assault and carrying a weapon on school property. Also in Tennessee, House Education Instruction Subcommittee Chairman Scott Sapicki tells WTN's Matt Murphy some of the education-related legislation lawmakers will be taking up in January.
Our evaluation system of our teachers is not working well right now, so we're going to look at how we do things here in Tennessee versus how some of the best states in education evaluate their teachers to get something that is more concrete that I can come on the air and explain to your listeners exactly how our evaluation system works on our teachers, which, Matt, I can't tell you how it works right now.
Sapicki also says there will be a task force on how to deliver and train Tennessee teachers on math and then teach it to kids. Money News, Daria Albinger.
Stocks soared today after an historic decision by the Fed. The Dow closed up 522 points. The S&P gained 95, both closing at all-time highs, while the Nasdaq rose 441 points. Investors are buying, encouraged by the Federal Reserve's decision to cut a key interest rate 0.5%, hoping it will help the economy avoid a recession and getting that much-desired soft landing. The central bank signaled even more cuts are coming, with Chair Jerome Powell saying it'll do all it can to keep inflation moving downward. The gains followed rallies from markets across Europe and Asia. Sales of previously occupied homes fell in August to the slowest annual pace in nearly a year, even as mortgage rates eased and the supply of properties keeps rising. Tours says sales dropped 2.5% from July and were down 4.2% from a year ago. The median home price up over 3% to over $416,000.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
4:37 on the drive. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how's it going? I'm Chris Hand, filling in for Brian Wilson. If you work during the day, you probably never get to hear my show. I'm normally on 9 to noon. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm having a good time. This is a cozy shift. Brian does a great job, and I'm grateful that he's let me fill in for him. Donald Trump was in Long Island, New York yesterday. He was all over New York. I mean, he was on Gutfeld, and he held this massive rally. And at this rally, he talked about the assassination attempt that happened in Florida. And I can't listen to this stuff enough. When you hear him speak about it, it really does humanize him, but it also, like, he's so fearless. The way that he continues to persist, you have to, like, look at this guy, and it's admirable.
3 days ago, there was yet another assassination attempt on my life. I didn't know I was going to say that. It was the second one in 8 weeks by a violent radical left mobster. This evil would-be assassin got within a few hundred yards of where I stood, but thankfully our outstanding Secret Service agent, and they are outstanding, spotted the barrel of his rifle in the bushes. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? He saw a barrel of this was a big barrel. This you don't want to even talk about, AK-47. But he saw the barrel coming out a little bit out of the very lush bushes, and he took fast action to stop the gunman before I even entered the line of sight. And I want to express my thanks to the U.S. Secret Service, who was there that day, and to all of the sheriffs and law enforcement down in Florida, the heroes who helped to apprehend the attacker. And
I love the way he always praises the Secret Service. I do. You know, he could go the other route and say they didn't sweep the perimeter, there were no drones, and he could go full scorched earth, and that would be understandable too. But he never does that. He never does that. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures from where that would-be assassin was. I have one up on my Twitter account, at Chris Hand on Air. It gives you a view of where he would have been in that fence line, in the bush line, and where he would have been able to get Donald Trump. He was insanely close. Insanely close. And it's incredible that we aren't having a different conversation today, which is also incredible because we're saying the exact same thing about Butler, Pennsylvania. 2 times now we could have had a completely different conversation. 2 times that the Secret Service has essentially let this man down. They've let him down. This is on top of the Secret Service agent that left her post to breastfeed a 2-year-old. This is on top of a would-be chemical attack at a Tucson rally that we discussed a little while ago. He still praises them. He does. And that's admirable. I don't know if I could do that. I think I would be a little bit more angry than this guy is. And he kind of chuckles through it. Like, it's another assassination attempt. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We persist. We just keep going. And then he takes a moment to praise the woman that took the photo of the assassin's car. And she deserves all the praise. Because if she wasn't there, I don't know if we know who Ryan Routh is today. I don't know if we know who this guy is, because it was those pictures that helped law enforcement track him down some 50 miles away. This woman does deserve some praise.
No, but think of this. This could only happen with a woman because men aren't smart enough, I hate to tell you fellas. So he dropped his gun. His car was a block away, and he started running because they had him. And he was running. And a woman driving a car innocently said, "He looks like a bad person to me. He looks very suspicious." And she followed him and pulled up to the back of the car and started taking pictures of his license plate. Can you believe that?
I mean, honestly, you listen to this guy, and he's essentially joking about almost being murdered again. Again. How can you laugh this off? I don't know if I'd be able to do the exact same thing. I don't know if I'm strong enough to laugh off my second assassination attempt. But this guy does. He does. And he praises this woman for taking those pictures.
And she took the pictures of his license plate, perfect, beautiful pictures like a professional photographer.
I mean, seriously.
And sent them to the sheriff and said, I just looked at a man. There was something strange going on. Who the hell would do that? Right? Only a woman. Only a woman.
I mean, through this all, his sense of humor is gold.
And I asked the sheriff today, I said, so, Sheriff, if you had 1,000 events, how many people would have done that? Man or woman, how many people would have done that, followed him, taken pictures of the license plate and also the type of truck that he was driving? He said, maybe none. So she's a hero. I got to meet her.
He said, maybe none. Maybe none. I love what he says. She's a hero. I got to meet her. She is. She's a hero.
And because of that, they were then able to catch him in a very speedy drive down the various highways in Florida, but they got him, and they got him fast. But I think it's incredible. So the agent and that wonderful woman, and with all of my heart, I thank you all for your incredible valor. What you've done is incredible. What the people of our country and law enforcement does in this country is incredible.
No, he's right. He's right. And that Secret Service agent that spotted that barrel and engaged that shooter, also a hero. I mean, that guy ran towards danger. I understand that that's the gig, right? That's what you sign up for. But you never know how people are going to react in those moments. And that guy, he saved Trump. He did. But one of the big stories yesterday was the endorsement, or I guess non-endorsement, from the Teamsters Union. You know, the Teamsters Union quite often endorses Democrats. That's what they do. The unions in general endorse Democrats. Yesterday, however, it was big news that they weren't going to endorse anybody. Oh, you're not going to endorse anyone? Nope. They're not endorsing. They're not endorsing anyone this time. But they had internal polling, and the internal polling showed that the 1.3 million members of the Teamsters Union overwhelmingly support Donald Trump. Trump got about 58% of those straw polls. Kamala Harris got around 30% of those straw polls. So 2-1 supporting Donald Trump. And that led to the Teamsters Union saying, yeah, we're not going to endorse a Democrat this time. Donald Trump mentioned this last night.
Earlier today, I was honored to receive the endorsement of the rank and file membership of the Teamsters. I love the Teamsters. They delivered all that concrete for those buildings I built in New York. They delivered the big, heavy, most beautiful trucks you've ever seen. They delivered the concrete in all those buildings I built in New York. But, you know, this hasn't happened in so many decades. We won the overwhelming majority of the local chapters and the members, and as a result, the national organization has refused to endorse the Democrat candidate for the first time in many, many decades.
It's actually pretty unbelievable. Pretty unbelievable. 60% of the Teamsters Union preferred Donald Trump. 60% wanted to endorse Donald Trump. That's wild. 1.3 million members. You think about the ripple effect, especially in the Rust Belt states, what that means. That's massive. That is massive for Donald Trump. And I understand that they're going to spin it. Oh, well, they didn't endorse Trump either. It's like, the rank and file certainly did. The rank and file certainly did. This is absolutely a big story, no matter how they spin it.
And I also want to thank Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, amazing man, and all of the incredible rank and file Teamsters across the country, because this was a surprise. It's automatic. They endorse the Democrats, automatic for many, many decades. But you know what? They said, they looked at her, they said, we're not going there. I'm sorry. These are tough people. And together we will secure our borders. We will protect our workers. We will defend our jobs. We will rebuild our country with American skill and American pride and American labor. Right?
And this is what they understand. Listen, if you're in a union right now, do you want to work? Do you want to work? I guess is the real question, because if you got Democrats in control, they're sending those jobs out of the country. So what do, right? Sean Davis of the Federalist had a great post on X. He said, understand what's happening with the Teamsters. Understand, okay? The members all want Donald Trump, but the leadership knows it can't officially endorse Trump without putting the entire organization at risk due to the bloodlust of the Democrat Party at every level in blue states where Teamsters are the most prevalent. So how do you deal with that? Well, you announce official neutrality while simultaneously releasing a poll that shows your members love Trump and hate Kamala Harris. And that Harris poll is significantly worse than Biden, who, they got rid of via a coup. That's how you handle that. So the Teamsters rank and file, they're with Trump. 100%. There's no getting around that. And there's other unions stepping up and getting out there and supporting Trump as well. Today, Steamfitters Local 638 union member Bob Bartles said that the Steamfitters have voted in a poll, and the returns on that were 70% in favor of Trump.
I can tell you on my end, the Steamfitters have voted in the poll. We have a 70% return in favor of President Trump. Why? Everything that's gone on the last 4 years, an open border, inflation, gas prices, oil, mortgage rates. I mean, I can go on and on. The immigrants just getting into neighborhoods like the neighborhood I grew up in, which I mentioned last night. I have a daughter down there. She's afraid to walk around. And this is a neighborhood I grew up in. These are where people worked hard all their life to buy a house in a nice neighborhood, and now it's destroyed by illegal immigrants. And like I said last night, too, to David Muir and Lindsey Davis, those two hacks from the moderators from the debate, they don't have to go to Springfield, Ohio to look at mutilated animals. They could go to right in Queens in a federal park, and you'll see them all over the beach. It's disgusting. It's bringing the property value down. It's just ridiculous.
I actually saw a video of what appeared to be an illegal alien in New York City plucking the feathers out of a live pigeon. So, people say that this stuff isn't happening, but if you do a little bit of a dig, you'll find it. The Republican Party has become the party of the working man. There's no way around it. Even the Hollywood Labor Union. There's a member on Fox News saying, I'm seeing this in my union too. Rank and file support Donald Trump.
It's interesting, Rudy, because is Trump seeing an increase in support across all of labor, do you think? Or is it just the Teamsters, or are you seeing it in your union as well?
Definitely seeing it in my union. I'm a member of IATSE and in Hollywood Labor Union. We're seeing the rank and file in support of Trump. I'm seeing Trump stickers on trucks on the lot. The guys coming up to me asking me about, what are the policies. We just have to remember that families, moms, and union laborers and family members have lost so much over the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're supporting Trump in 2024.
It's fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy. It's understandable. And then UAW, who their president was on the DNC doing his best Hulk Hogan impression, but an auto worker from the UAW said 65 or 70% of the UAW members are supporting Donald Trump because the very existence of our industry is at stake. This is massive. It's massive. And while the numbers may seem, reasonable, 1.3 million, when you think about the ripple effect out, that pebble in the water, these guys have family members, they have kids, they have neighbors, they have friends. It's going to ripple out. And this is going to take a huge chunk out of that blue wall. It's 4:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear has posted to X, formerly Twitter, that a district judge was killed in Letcher County in southeast Kentucky today. Governor Beshear's post follows confirmation from a coroner there that someone died in a shooting at the Letcher County courthouse. Now, earlier, Channel 4 and News 2 had reported that Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins was accused of shooting District Judge Kevin Mullins in his office there in Letcher County. At the time, the coroner was not identifying the deceased person as Judge Mullins. Back here in Middle Tennessee, Channel 4 says the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office charged a 7th grader today with aggravated assault and carrying a weapon on school property. The 12-year-old allegedly showed a sharpened toothbrush outside of a restroom, then made a stabbing motion, hitting another student in the back. Well, the sheriff's office says the other student was not hurt, but it could have caused serious injury. This happened at Siegel Middle School in Rutherford County today. Authorities in Wilson and Sumner counties are investigating after a shooting in Watertown, and a convicted felon has been arrested for it. News 2 says deputies responded to a home in Watertown around 3 o'clock this morning after reports of gunshots, then a pause, then 2 more gunshots, then screaming, then someone banging on a woman's window for help. Deputies found a man laying on the living room floor of a home with a gunshot wound, while in Sumner County, deputies had pulled over whom they say was convicted felon Dwight Corley. And when they searched the vehicle, they say they found a loaded firearm, shell casings, and the vehicle's windows had been shot out. And a deadly accident this morning in Franklin. Channel 4 says a worker operating landscaping equipment was killed in the Stream Valley neighborhood around 9:40. Police say it appears to be accidental. They're withholding the identity of the 37-year-old until next of kin is notified. And the mayor of Springfield, Ohio, hopes former President Trump reconsiders his plans to visit the city, which has been the subject of claims that Haitian migrants have eaten household pets.
Donald Trump told a rally crowd that he intends to soon visit Springfield, Ohio, saying he might never be seen again.
Whatever happened to Trump? Well, he never got out of Springfield.
Now, Springfield's Republican mayor is all but urging Trump not to come. Rob Roos says a visit would strain resources in a city already taxed by the influx of Haitian migrant workers and now dealing with bomb threats.
Should he choose to change his plans, it would convey a significant message of peace to the city of Springfield.
In the Middle East, in Lebanon, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, in a televised address, vowed retaliation against Israel for killing and maiming the group's terrorists with detonated pagers and walkie-talkies both yesterday and on Tuesday. The Lebanese health minister says the attacks killed at least 37 people, including 2 children, and injured about 3,000 others. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
5:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, filling in for Brian Wilson today. If you don't normally hear my voice, I do the 9 to 12 shift, and I'm appreciative of Brian letting me fill in today while he's off. And thank you for giving me a chance to speak with you this afternoon. Big news. Big news coming from Matt Gaetz this afternoon. This is easily the top story of the day. Matt Gaetz has revealed that a DHS source has told him there are 5 assassination teams currently roaming about the country targeting President Trump. Yes, you heard me correctly. 5 teams. 5 teams, not 5 people. 5 assassination teams targeting President Trump. 3 foreign, 2 domestic. Matt Gaetz said that story on Breitbart earlier today, and then he doubled down on Human Events Daily with Jack Posobiec. This is what Matt Gaetz had to say.
For you, I had a senior official from the Department of Homeland Security in my office before the second assassination attempt saying that what he has assessed is that there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States, 3 inspired by other governments, 2 that are here that are known domestic assassination teams. And with that, this individual was coming to me concerned that the force protection around President Trump, even prior to that second assassination attempt, was not sufficient for what it needed to be. And the coordination at that level, at the dignitary protection level, is like the bare minimum that we have to do to keep our presidents, our presidential candidates safe while they're on the trail.
So there are 5, I just want to follow up, 5 assassination teams. Are they all targeting Trump? Is it other officials?
Yes. No, wow. I should have been clear about that. 5 teams that we know are targeting Trump. And so that raises real questions about why certain teams were being pulled off of the Trump detail and put on, for example, the Jill Biden detail. Now, we don't want anything bad to happen to Jill Biden, but at the same time, the threat envelope for her was substantially different than the threat envelope around President Trump, and it would not have necessitated pulling assets away from the Trump detail for the Jill Biden detail or the John Bolton detail or any other details that were beefed up. At the same time, the requests from the Trump detail and from the Trump campaign for more security were going unanswered.
More calls for more security are going unanswered. And if you're keeping score at home, before the second assassination attempt, they had knowledge that there were 5 assassination teams, 3 foreign, 2 domestic, in the United States targeting President Trump. And they didn't think to sweep the perimeter at the golf course? Doesn't that seem like day one stuff? They didn't think to deploy drones? Doesn't that seem like basic? Like, if you want to look at the Butler assassination attempt and say, like, whoa, guys, we messed up. I mean, there's a lot of questions there. But let's just say lone wolf lunatic, right? For the sake of the argument, we messed up. Then you get word that there's 5 assassination teams targeting President Trump per a DHS source, and you don't even sweep the perimeter? If you hop over to my Twitter account, at Chris Hand on Air, you can see the view from the fence where Ryan Routh was laying in wait for 12 hours, waiting for President Trump. They didn't sweep that perimeter? They didn't deploy drones, and they knew that 5 assassination teams were targeting this man? At this point, I'm starting to think we need a basement campaign a la Joe, because we can't have anything happen to this man. We can't. 5 assassination teams. And then let's go a step further. Israel has the technology to intercept packages with pagers, put explosives in them, and target Hezbollah terrorists. But we don't have the technology to find 5 assassination teams targeting President Trump? Are you kidding me? Honestly. And Trump has to know about this stuff, right? Trump has to have been briefed on this. And then you hear him talk in Long Island, New York last night, and this guy is still pretty cheery. He's joking about the assassination attempt, laughing at certain points. It doesn't seem to faze him, and that's wild. And you wonder how this isn't fazing him. And He has one of those guys, it's a God thing. And I feel like a lot of his peace is coming from God. He was talking about how the left has turned us into a third world nation and how he's still going to persist, even after 2 assassination attempts.
They're doing things in politics that have never been done before in the history of our country. And worst of all, with their open borders and bad elections, they have made us into a third world nation, something which nobody thought was even possible. Americans deserve a campaign based on the issues. We try and keep it on the issues. And God has now spared my life. It must have been God. Thank you.
He has this moment where he looks up to the sky, and it's like that light bulb moment that we've all had as Christians, or it's like, it's a God thing. It's a God thing.
Not once, but twice. And there are those that say he did it because Trump is going to turn this state around. He's going to turn this country around. He's going to make America great again. And maybe. And we're going to bring back religion into our country.
That sounds good. Sounds good to me. But the moment where he looks up to the sky, it's like, I don't know, everybody has their own journey, right? But for me, as you're coming into your faith and you're growing as a Christian, you have those light bulb moments where it's like something that you can't explain. There's nothing that you can put into any worldly explanation, but it's just like, oh, thanks, man. Like that's a God thing. And he has that same look, and it's like I saw him look up to the sky and do that. I'm like, I know that look. Granted, I've never been almost assassinated. I've never dealt with bullets flying at me, but we've all had those God moments, and I do think that some of that peace that we're seeing from him when it comes to these assassination attempts, when it comes to these threats against him, are just because of his faith. And I think his faith has only grown stronger. He said it himself yesterday in Long Island that the near-death encounters have strengthened his resolve.
These encounters with death have not broken my will. They have really given me a much bigger and stronger mission. They've only hardened my resolve to use my time on earth to make America great again, for all Americans to put America first. And to put America first.
I believe him when he says it. I do. You know, this guy doesn't need to be running for president. He's got grandkids. He's got millions, billions. He could absolutely go sit on the beach. He could absolutely go golf, stop having bullets thrown at him, and have a very, very comfortable life. He could. I truly believe that he's doing these things. He's running for president. He's putting himself in the line of fire for all the right reasons. I honestly believe that. And the people in attendance on Long Island yesterday, they believe that too. And he had a message to New York voters, and I love this guy's confidence yesterday. He honestly believes that he can win New York. Maybe he can. It's an uphill battle, sure. But he said something that it resonates. He says, guys, what do you have to lose?
And so I say to the people of New York, with crime at record levels, with terrorists and criminals pouring in, and with inflation eating your hearts out, vote for Donald Trump. What the hell do you have to lose? What do you have to lose?
Right? Honestly, what do you have to lose? It's such a good point. You know, I lived in Detroit for a while, and my wife has some family up in Detroit, and I actually really liked Detroit. I'm not knocking the city, but the city's falling apart. It's been falling apart for decades under Democrat control. And it was Mother's Day one year, or Mother's Day, or whatever the holiday was. But we were all sitting around, and we're hanging out in my living room, and it's my wife and her cousin and her uncle, which they're liberals, they're Democrats, great people, love them to death, and not a knock on them. They just think differently, and that's okay. But I remember saying to them, "Hey guys, you know, Detroit's been falling apart for years, and you keep voting the exact same way. Why wouldn't you try the other? Why wouldn't you try the other way? What could get worse? What could get worse? They looked at me like I had three heads, and maybe I did for broaching the topic. But, hey, what do you have to lose? And you look at New York City, where they're putting illegal aliens ahead of citizens. They're taking kids out of school. Remember this over the winter? They took kids out of a public school and put them on, what was it called? The learning. They put them on online school for a couple days because it was too cold for the migrants. They took kids out of school to house migrants in a school. What do you have to lose? Honestly, what do you have to lose? I think that's one of the best arguments that you can hit New York with right now is things can't get worse. I say that. If Kamala gets elected, they possibly could. Maybe the better argument is things could definitely get worse for New York City. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? And then he makes a promise to them. If you vote for me.
And if you vote for me, I'm going to reduce your taxes, reduce your crime, and reduce your levels of stress. Because you have a lot of stress. The only thing that I will increase are your incomes, and your love for your state will come roaring back again.
I love that he said the only thing you gotta I'll lower your stress. I'll lower your stress. It's I don't think I've ever heard a politician say, listen, I'll lower the stress. Has a politician ever said that? I don't think a politician's ever said that, but when he says it, that resonates with people. People are stressed out paying rent. In urban cities right now, rent is up 23%. And in New York City, you know how much you're paying for and what you're getting? We can complain in Murfreesboro when an apartment, a 2-bedroom is like around $2,000. That's a 2-bedroom. You're paying $3,000 for a studio in New York. What do you have to lose? You're worried about crime. I saw a video. This poor old woman in New York gets knocked out, blindsided by somebody on the street. What do you have to lose voting for Trump? I think this argument's powerful, and I think that while it may be an uphill battle, you see what he did in the Bronx. You see what he did on Long Island. It's within the realm of possibility. Crazier things have happened. And I do admire this guy's just steel resolve. Despite it all, he goes into New York City. He goes into Long Island, and he makes the case. He's at least trying. He's at least trying. Has Kamala done a rally in New York yet? Yeah, that's right. Because these Democrat politicians don't care about the residents of New York. Not one bit. Maybe once every 4 years. But they think it's a lock. They're not stressing it. Donald Trump is at least trying to give himself a fighting chance. And I respect the hell out of that. It's 521 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections. No lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
We're following reports of a district judge getting shot and killed in southeast Kentucky. That's coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 5:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You guys are doing the Amigos now in the afternoon, right?
Yes, sir.
That is correct, yeah.
I got some stuff for the Amigos.
Oh, wow.
All right, so 5:35, I'm going to tell you what football team you need to root for this weekend.
I'll tell you that.
All right.
And I've got a story about a big fat snake.
Oh, calm down, Ken. Calm down. Let's wait till 5:35.
Mind out of the gutter, Chris.
And also I got Gavin Newsom is upset about AI, so we'll get into that as well. We got a lot to get to. Oh, and Trump on Gutfeld. Did you hear him talking about Tim Walz?
I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, all right. You know what? I don't even know if I can wait for that. I think I should. Should I just do it now? I think I'll just do it now. Trump was on Gutfeld over the night last night, and he brings up Walz. And at first he brings up the fact that Tim Walz is voting. His brother is going to be voting for Trump, and so is Obama's brother, by the way.
So she had policies that she's now changed 14 policies about fracking. Yeah. She was totally against for 15 years fracking. Now all of a sudden, a short while ago, she came out in favor of fracking. Same thing with guns. She said, no, I don't want to take your guns. I don't want to. For 20 years, she's wanted to take your guns. All of a sudden, a short while ago, she said, no, I don't want to. One thing about a politician, they always revert back to where they were at the beginning, because that's what their natural inclination is. Her father is a Marxist professor. I mean, that's the way it is. And he's currently, and I don't know what happened to the father, but we haven't seen him. I'd love to be able to talk to him. You know, Barack Hussein Obama's brother is supporting Trump. This Governor Walz, his brother and his whole family is supporting him. In fact, they want to make contributions to my campaign.
By the way, his brother and his whole family are supporting me. And then Trump has a story about Walz asking Trump for help during the summer of love. He called him up. He was nervous.
It's funny. Walz is a strange dude.
Oh, he's strange.
He is strange. Him and I are the same age. How does he look so much younger?
No, he's a strange guy.
It's strange.
You know, he called up years ago. I was in the White House, and he said, my house is being surrounded by people with American flags. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? He said, I think they're going to attack me. But this was during the riots and everything else. They were MAGA people. You know, they like the American flag, all right? And they also had Trump. And I said, how do you know? There were about 15,000, He said, could you put out a word like that I'm your friend? I don't even know him, but that's the only time I ever spoke to him. And if you look back long ago, tweets, before Truth, tweets, long ago, I put out a statement. He's a good man, the governor. He's on our side. I didn't know him, but I didn't want him to get hurt. And everybody put down their flags and they left. Yes. He said it was a miracle. He said it was a miracle.
I actually fact-checked this and found that tweet. It's true.
They say he's not a nice guy. I would have had fun with that. It's called a barbecue. Go outside.
He remembers it, actually. He was a little bit nervous about things. They had one guard. He said, we have one guard at the door. Mm-hmm. It was the mansion for the state. And then he said, we have one guard at the door, and you have 15,000 people out there. And I'm a little bit, I don't know, they look violent. I said, are they carrying the American flag? They're not going to be violent.
Yes.
But I put out a statement, and they just went back. It was sort of a beautiful thing in a lot of ways.
It was a beautiful thing in a lot of ways. It's 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Gang of Three. No, the Amigos. What am I? How do you say it, Chris?
The Three Amigos.
The Three Amigos. We do. It's the Gang of Four in the morning. It's the Three Amigos in the afternoon. Me and the Amigos will come up after the news. It's 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now, we're following reports of a district judge getting shot and killed in southeast Kentucky. The Mountain Eagle newspaper in Whitesburg, Kentucky, is reporting that Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins is accused of shooting District Judge Kevin Mullins in his office. This report says that the sheriff was arrested after surrendering himself to police. This is about 291 miles east of Nashville in southeast Kentucky. Elsewhere in Kentucky, reports say the medical examiner has determined the cause of death of the person who could be the Interstate 75 shooter who was the subject of a 12-day manhunt. This report says that the medical examiner determined it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. They say they still can't positively identify the remains found by a couple who said they followed vultures to where the body was. Another member of Tennessee's congressional delegation speaking up in support of the device attacks on members of Hezbollah in Lebanon. Republican Congressman David Kustoff, representing the bulk of West Tennessee, including East Memphis, said the explosion sent a strong message to Israel's enemies.
It seems like out of a spy movie, but these are real devices, and the Israelis have other means of attack if they need to attack.
Hezbollah's leader today acknowledged the attack was a severe blow and then vowed to emerge stronger and continue daily strikes into northern Israel. And here in Tennessee, we have a preview of some of the legislation state lawmakers will be taking up in January. Education Instruction Subcommittee Chair Scott Sapicki telling WTN's Matt Murphy Show.
Basically a task force on how we're going to deliver and train our teachers in mathematics and how to teach it to our kids. That's going to be coming next year. Commissioner Reynolds and her staff is already working on that.
He also says how Tennessee is conducting teacher evaluations is not working well right now. So he says lawmakers will be looking at states where it is working to come up with a way to fix what's not working here. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
537 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand, filling in for the one and only Brian Wilson. Chris Weber producing, Ken Weaver in the newsroom, and this is the Three Amigos. What's up, guys?
Yeah, you get it right.
What's going on, boys?
It's a work in progress. Well, Dan in the morning calls it the Gang of Four Amigos.
He just says whatever comes out of his mouth. I don't think he ever got it right one time back when we were still in the mornings, when he would fill in or whatever. He just whatever comes out.
Well, whatever. Moving on.
Yeah. Come to think about it, it's like sometimes it's the Gang of Four, sometimes it's the Four Amigos, sometimes it's the Gang of Four Amigos. It's ever evolving. Yep. Have you guys seen what's going on with Gavin Newsom in California?
I have not.
Have not.
Besides the poop on the streets and all of that,
do without that.
So he signed into law. It outlaws a bill. He signed into law making AI content illegal when it comes to manipulating a voice in an ad that seems political. Essentially, he got really upset over the Kamala Harris fake AI ads. So he signed a bill to make it illegal. And the Babylon Bee responded with this.
Oh, boy.
Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. This is a message for the people of America, given in my authentically recorded, non-AI voice. Thanks to my leadership over the last several years, California has become a world leader in extremist, left-wing governance. My policies were so effective that almost 1 million people are now fleeing the state every year. We even ran out of U-Hauls. During the COVID pandemic, I locked everyone in their homes and shut down businesses for months. Not the French Laundry, though. That's my favorite restaurant. Last year, I cleaned up the dangerous, messy streets of San Francisco, because Chinese Communist President Xi was coming, and I really wanted to impress him. He's my boss, after all. This year, I signed legislation that allows me to take custody of your kid if you refuse to give him artificial hormones and chop off his genitals. Because if you don't do that, you're a bigot. And bigots shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I've also led the way in green energy by banning all cars that don't run on electricity. Then I banned almost all the electricity. This is smart leadership. On my watch, the cost of living and homelessness have skyrocketed. Schools are failing. Drug dealers and human traffickers are pouring across the border. And poop has covered the sidewalks of San Francisco. This is the positive, joyful vision we offer as Democrats. That's why I'm enthusiastically endorsing Kamala Harris for president in 2024. She'll do to the country everything I did in California. Anyway, I'm California Governor Gavin Newsom, and I approve this 100% real message, which is a recording of my voice without the assistance of any AI whatsoever. This isn't a deep fake, and you can rest assured that it isn't, because I just signed an unconstitutional law outlawing deep fakes. No one would dare violate it. Thank you, and science bless America.
Science bless
Wow,
America.
that was impressive.
I think the Science Bless America is my favorite part.
Yeah.
It's so good. But the guy's nuts. He's absolutely nuts. And he actually responded to this earlier today. California's Governor Gavin Newsom, he's not ruling out legal action against Elon Musk for sharing certain memes and videos on X. This is not AI. He's actually saying this at a podium in California at some event they were having. But he calls Elon a blogger in this.
I think Mr. Musk has missed the punchline. Parody's still alive and well in California. But deep fakes and manipulation of elections, that hurts democracy and the integrity of the system and trust. And we believe in truth and trust. And we think this law is sound and will be upheld in the courts.
So do you intend to seek legal action, whether on Elon Musk or any of the proliferating deepfakes?
Well, the law asserts that many can seek injunction relief. And I just signed the law. I just signed 32 other bills on housing. And I haven't had a chance to review the specific lawsuit around a conservative blogger that seems offended by our law. I think
a conservative blogger that seems offended by our law.
He didn't answer the question.
No, he did not.
I guess that's one title to give Elon.
Also, didn't NASA ask Elon for help to get these stranded astronauts?
Yeah.
That's a pretty impressive conservative blogger.
Yeah, I mean, without Musk, who knows how long those astronauts are going to be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been up there for a while.
I certainly wouldn't trust Boeing.
No, jeez. No, I wouldn't trust Boeing either. I wouldn't. You got a story about a snake, Ken?
Yeah, big old fat snake in Thailand.
Oh, I saw this one.
Yeah.
I think this is the same one.
So this poor woman, 64-year-old woman, was rescued by police after being strangled by a python for more than 2 hours.
What?
She was doing the dishes whenever the snake shot forward and bit her, she says. The python then wrapped itself around her until she fell to the ground. She struggled to free herself from the snake's tightening coils for 2 hours without success. She is on the floor with this snake writhing around her. She's crying out for help. Apparently nobody heard her. Finally, one of her neighbors heard her distress cause and then got assistance from police. Police say they arrived and were shocked to see the lady was tied down on the floor with the python wrapping around her, according to the police major on the scene. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name or where this town is. But the police major was quoted as saying the snake was really big.
I would assume so.
Footage filmed by police shows the woman sitting on the floor, trapped in the grip of this python, which had wrapped itself around her waist. It took the rescuers 30 minutes to free her. So this is a 2.5 ordeal for her. So they finally get her free. They rush her to the hospital for treatment. And guess what happened to the snake?
They ate her. I ate it.
We're not talking about Springfield, Ohio here.
That's just a guess.
Police said we couldn't catch it.
What? Couldn't catch it?
The snake got away.
How?
That's as far as
Did it have a getaway car?
So after getting the snake off the woman, they placed the snake down and said, "Wait right there, fella."
Sounds like, you know what? I bet they were just afraid this thing was going to latch onto one of them.
That's what I'm thinking,
Yeah,
too.
they were like, all right, let's just get away from this thing.
Just tell the media it got away.
2.5 hours?
2.5 hours. This poor woman is fighting this snake. The last half hour, police are working to free her. They rush her to the hospital, and then afterward, police said, we couldn't catch the snake. It got away.
Man.
Did she have any broken bones or anything like that? Was there any injuries?
Imagine, at least ribs, I would think.
Yeah, it's not saying.
She's lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Oh, absolutely, man.
Was it hers? Does she own it?
They're not saying. She told police she's standing there doing dishes, and all of a sudden this thing shoots toward her. And it grabs her, and that happens for about 2.5 hours. Apparently, last month, there was a man. Good Lord, I missed this part. Last month, the man had his twig and berries bitten by a python while sitting in the bathroom. He managed to survive by hitting the snake with a cleaning brush before calling a security guard to help remove it. Now, imagine what that scene was like.
Headline, snake bites snake.
Yeah.
I don't want to imagine it.
That's Thailand.
That's nightmare stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but this happens quite a bit, I think. Well, not quite a bit, but I've heard several stories in that part of the world where these snakes are native to, I guess. And you know, you've seen the videos and the pictures of where they claim the snake swallowed a adult human whole.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's, you know.
And then it's a big fat snake.
Yeah, and they cut it open and there's the body is there. You know,
ugh.
Yeah.
That's awful.
No, thank you.
Not a fan.
I'm going to have to follow up on this, make sure this woman's okay, man, because I mean 2.5 hours. I'm like you guys. I'm surprised she's still alive.
How do you not see this thing coming?
Well,
like,
that's
if it's giant enough to wrap you up and hold you down, wouldn't you hear it sneaking up on you?
All I can figure is maybe she, where she was doing.
She must have been outside, right? This wasn't in her house.
That definitely could be the case.
Yeah.
She's outside washing dishes in, a pot or something, and this thing falls out of a tree at her or something.
That's insane.
You know, they just had the python wrangle down in Florida a couple weeks ago, I think, you know, where they do it every year where they say, all right, come on, anyone who wants to try to kill these snakes, go get them.
Right.
And I think they got like 150 of them or something over the course of the few days. Yeah.
That's what you do in Florida? It's a python wrangle?
Yeah, because it's destroying the ecosystem down there.
Got to do it every year.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's apparently monkeys that are rolling around Florida too.
I've heard that too.
People who can't take care of them, they just let them go.
Yeah, and they thrive. You know, the snakes thrive in the Everglades. I mean, that's kind of like where they're from.
Monkeys do too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's wild. That's wild.
Florida, man.
Florida's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Arizona's even more crazy. I got a football team for you guys to root for this weekend.
Okay.
We're all going to be rooting for the Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions.
Yeah, because they're playing the Arizona Cardinals this weekend. And last weekend, the Arizona Cardinals, as people are coming through security, a woman's coming through, and she's wearing a Make America Great Again hat. And security said, you can't wear that here, and they made her throw it away.
Throw it away?
They made her throw it away.
Really?
She was a season ticket holder.
I bet she isn't anymore.
Susan Rosner. She's owned season tickets for 34 years. Stadium security flagged her down and told her she could not enter the facility with her MAGA hat on.
Huh.
Did they at least attempt to give her a reason? Or did they just say, no, you can't wear that?
They said no political hats or shirts.
Interesting.
Free speech much, right?
Yeah.
I've got a suggestion for security at the Oklahoma-Tennessee game this weekend. Don't let the Volunteers team enter the stadium.
You guys are going to get the brake speed off you, right?
Possibly. It's a possibility. Yeah.
Do you see where Blake Shelton's going to be the guest picker this weekend on the game day?
Blake, yeah. He's got a ranch out there.
Yeah, he's a big Sooner.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's going to help any. But
you don't think that's going to?
Probably not.
Not going to pump them up before the game?
Yeah.
It could be a good game. Who knows?
It could be a good game. I mean, I think our defense, our defense is different than past Oklahoma defenses. So we'll see. But, I mean, if any of those Vols players want to wear a MAGA hat into the Owen Field.
I mean, it is Knoxville, right? It could work in your favor.
If this will be in Oklahoma, you probably won't find many. Actually, they'll probably welcome them and then hope they win in Oklahoma.
One of us. All right, on the way, I want to rehash this story about Matt Gaetz in case you've missed it. He said that there are 5 assassination teams rolling around the country targeting President Trump. You heard me correctly. Matt Gaetz revealing that he has a DHS source that says there are 5 assassination teams rolling around the country targeting President Trump. It's an insane story. We'll bring it to you next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
For the first time, we are hearing audio from the 4th of July when an active shooter was shot and killed by Yellowstone National Park Rangers. You'll hear it coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. It's Chris Hand filling in for Brian Wilson. Breaking news today, Matt Gaetz revealing that there are 5 assassination teams. Yes, you heard me correct, 5 assassination teams targeting President Trump. How did they get here? Well, you guessed it, the wide open southern border. We'll bring you that audio from Matt Gaetz as well as testimony from a former border official talking about how he was told by the Biden-Harris administration, don't say anything about the special interest aliens sneaking across the border. All that and more on the way on The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Six o'clock on the dot this Thursday evening. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and a traffic update coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in far southeast Kentucky, we are following a story where a judge was shot and killed inside his chambers. This happening in Letcher County. It's about 290 miles east of Nashville. Pierre Thomas has more on this developing story.
Kentucky's Court of Justice is also confirming the tragedy and saying that the investigation is underway with the support of the Kentucky State Police, which is taking the lead. They're calling the shooting an isolated incident, and there's no threat to the surrounding public. But we're hearing that area schools were briefly shut down, And Governor Beshear is saying that there's way too much violence in this world.
Now, the district judge being identified as Kevin Mullins, he was appointed to the bench in 2009 by Steve Beshear, the father of the current governor, Andy. A local newspaper reporting that local sheriff is the killer who surrendered to authorities right after the shooting, according to the newspaper by the name of Mountain Eagle. Elsewhere in Kentucky, reports say the medical examiner has determined the cause of death of the person who is believed to be the Interstate 75 shooter who was the subject of a 12-day manhunt after 5 people were injured in that shooting. The report says that it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. They say they still can't positively identify the remains found by a couple who say they followed vultures to the body. And for the first time, we're hearing audio from the 4th of July when an active shooter was shot and killed by Yellowstone National Park Rangers.
911 emergency.
It started with a phone call about a concession employee at Yellowstone threatening another employee and threatening to shoot up the main cafeteria.
He said a guy is threatening to kill her and shoot up the EDR tomorrow.
The next day, while Rangers were looking for that employee, he emerged from the woods shooting at them.
Get back in your truck!
Heard on body-worn camera audio, Rangers responded, yelling for everyone to take cover as he got into a gun battle with them. The shooter was killed and a Ranger was hit.
Secure the firearm!
Alex Stone, EBC News.
There is new research on how COVID-19 began. Derek Dennis reports this analysis published today in the journal Cell doesn't prove that animals were infected by the virus, but it says DNA was found very near the virus, sometimes on the same swab.
Scientists researching the origins of COVID-19 have identified a list of animals that possibly spread COVID to humans. Researchers analyzed genetic material gathered from the Chinese market in Wuhan, where the first outbreak was detected, and found the most likely animals spreading COVID were raccoon dogs, civet cats, and bamboo rats. The scientists suspect the infected animals were first brought to the Wuhan market in late November 2019 and somehow infected the first humans, which then triggered the pandemic.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It is 6:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, filling in for the one and only Brian Wilson. It's a pleasure to be with you. Normally, I host 9 to noon. Today, I'm pulling double duty, filling in for Brian while he's got a day off. Very excited to be with you. A lot of people don't have a chance to hear me because we do the same thing. We both work during the day, so go figure. If you ever want to check out my show, you can find the podcast on Apple and Spotify or the 99.7 WTN app. The big story of the day, breaking news from Matt Gaetz, revealing that a DHS official, a source, confided in him that there are five assassination teams roaming around the interior of the United States targeting Donald J. Trump. Not 5 people, 5 teams. Matt Gaetz made this revelation on Breitbart News earlier today, and he doubled down just a little while ago on Real America's Voice, Human Events Show, and this is what he had to say.
And I'll break a little news for you. I had a senior official from the Department of Homeland Security in my office before the second assassination attempt saying that what he has assessed is that there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States, 3 inspired by other governments, 2 that are here that are known domestic assassination teams. And with that, this individual was coming to me concerned that the force protection around President Trump, even prior to that second assassination attempt, was not sufficient for what it needed to be. And the coordination at that level, at the dignitary protection level, is like the bare minimum that we have to do to keep our presidents, our presidential candidates safe while they're on the trail.
It's stunning. They knew about this before the second assassination attempt. 5 teams roaming around the interior of the country. 3 foreign, 2 domestic. Teams of people. And when you put that into context and you think about that last assassination attempt, they didn't even search the perimeter of the golf course. By the grace of God, the Secret Service agent that was the advance team moving ahead of Donald Trump, just a hole ahead, noticed the barrel of the gun sticking out from the bushes. By the grace of God. If you haven't seen how close the shooter would have been to President Trump if Trump had made it to where that area was, you can see a picture on my Twitter account from the vantage point of the shooter at Chris Hand on Air. This is stunning. Stunning. How does this man not have more security? How are there international foreign assassination teams in the country? How do we not know where they are? With all the technology, all the manpower, all the might of the U.S. federal government, we can't track these individuals down? And they got in via the open southern border, the foreign assassination teams at least. And we're also learning today via a testimony from former Border Patrol Chief Aaron Heitke telling Congress today that he was ordered by the Biden-Harris administration to cover up the number of terrorists arrested at the border.
In San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught.
And that's in San Diego. So the Biden-Harris administration wanted to cover that up. The Biden-Harris administration won't give Donald Trump more security. The DHS officials understand and know that there are 5 assassination teams roaming about the country, and still Donald Trump persists. Still he continues. I would be hiding in a bunker. I would be hiding in a bunker if I was that man. But Trump isn't hiding in a bunker. Trump is out there on Long Island last night making his case to the people of New York. And listen, this is a state that he probably can't win. It's an uphill battle. And he's still out there asking them, why not Trump? What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose voting for me?
And so I say to the people of New York, with crime at record levels, with terrorists and criminals pouring in and with inflation eating your hearts out, vote for Donald Trump. What the hell do you have to lose? What do you have to lose?
Well, yeah, what do you have to lose voting for Donald Trump? What do you have to lose? I understand that Donald Trump running for president, he has a lot to lose. He could lose his life. There are 5 assassination teams roaming around the country right now, according to a DHS source telling that to Matt Gaetz. Trump has a lot to lose. What do New Yorkers have to lose? Pam in Nashville wants to talk about what they have to lose. Pam, you're next on Super Talk. Thanks for holding.
Oh, well, I will.
Appreciate you, Pam. What's up?
But let me tell you what, I think there's one guest you need to have on your show is a gamer that I follow. His name is D-Day Cobra. He's out from Florida. He had this, he streams these, the Trump, he's about as Trump MAGA as you. I think that would be, y'all would have a contest on who's more Trump MAGA. But he would be interesting for you to talk with. But anyway, I missed a lot of that because I had to work late last night. So you just dropped the burn of what do you have to lose. I think if there's anyone in this world that would get me an inch closer to voting for your candidate would be you. And I think when he said, what do you have to lose? I mean, I still think about other things that I value, right? It's part of my ethics, part of my values that I don't see where he does, right? But if I go, there's no way in, no. There would have to be a miracle. Like God put himself, finger in the sky to say, Pam, vote for Harris.
A miracle like God turning Donald Trump's head so he doesn't get it blown off by an assassin's bullet.
Well, I think a miracle too that the sheriff's department got up there, even before the Secret Service to startle the guy. So I think there's a lot of things in play. I think we can argue to God or not, but I think that for many of us who are independent, we're struggling to find where we land, and it's very difficult because me personally, as an American Jew living here, it's very difficult because I have all these ethics and values and things, and it's just so hard. But then too, I come back to what Ben Shapiro says. What he said. What is his famous saying? Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yep.
Right. So and I side with Elon Musk. There are people who are good people who came over here as immigrants. And they couldn't afford maybe to pay a coyote, right? But they're here, but how can we help them? It's trying to find those who are not here for good reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody that's coming over here illegally is paying a coyote to do it. And personally, listen, you start with the most violent, the most criminal, but I think you have to paint with a broad brush. If you came in here illegally, you need to go and you need to do it the right way.
But I hear you.
You can't. You can't start a relationship with a lie. You know what I mean?
I hear you. But I go back to my mom. My mom and I had this discussion before she died. Her family came over through Ellis Island, right? And they had to settle in New York. And they made this way in this world. And, we had this discussion. I said, well, what about those people who come in here illegally, Ma? And she said, well, I see you got a point there. But then she goes back, well, we got to welcome the stranger. And it gets sticky. I don't want to go into it.
Yeah, I disagree on that. I disagree on that.
But you play in that clip that I did not hear because now Jeremy, that's his name, D-Day Krober, he knows we do not align politically a lot, but he welcomes me into the club, because we're all gamers and stuff.
Yep, same.
And so,
and I understand we don't align politically, but listen, I know you're an independent, and I appreciate the call, Pam, but what do you have to lose voting for Donald Trump? I'll tell you what, you want another reason to vote for Donald Trump? Here's some nightmare fuel for you. Crooked Hillary Clinton isn't ruling out a role in the Harris-Walz administration. This is what she said earlier today in an interview.
Commander-in-Chief.
Oop, hang on one second. Where's that sound coming from? Oh, sorry about that. Here we go. I have too many tabs open on my browser, so then all the sound is playing at once. This is Hillary Clinton saying she wouldn't rule out a role in the Harris-Walz administration.
Is there any side of you, if there is a Harris-Walz administration, that you would want to play a part in it, whether officially or unofficially?
Well, certainly unofficially, I want to be as helpful as I can and would do anything I was asked to be helpful. We have so much to do that it really should be all hands on deck, and anybody who can help in any capacity should be willing to do so.
Yuck. Hillary Clinton in a Harris-Walz administration. Is that something you want to see? Just another reason not to vote for Kamala Harris. Is there any other women that are unlikable in politics, more unlikable besides Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton? And Hillary is, she's been all over the news today. I don't know why. She's just come out from underneath her rock, and she's still saying that she would be an ally to Kamala Harris. She would be a top advisor if Kamala wanted it. Birds of a feather, right?
Well, I've talked with Kamala a few times. I obviously talked with her before the debate because he is more incoherent. He is angrier. He is lashing out all the time at every.
What is she talking about? He's more incoherent. He's angrier. He's lashing out. I hear a guy laughing off attempted assassinations.
Everybody. He's filled with grievance and rage.
I think she needs to meet a mirror. I think that's what Hillary Clinton needs. Trump is filled with grievance and rage as he's laughing off assassination attempts. He's so angry, you guys. I mean, listen to how angry Donald Trump was on Gutfeld last night. He was downright in a rage talking about his golf game.
Mr. P, how's your golf game?
Well, haven't been thinking about it too much lately. I always said golf is a very dangerous game.
It really is. It really is, especially if they're playing with you.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a mean joke.
Pretty sad.
If they had told you that the shooter was there, would you have tried to take him out with your 3-wood?
I think so.
Yeah.
I knew.
I mean, he's filled with rage and grievance. You can hear it in his voice. Hillary Clinton, allow me to introduce you to a mirror. She's kicking and screaming. She still thinks it's her turn. She wants a place in the Harris-Walz administration. Do you want Secretary of State Clinton again? Ugh, yuck. Nightmare fuel. It's 6:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 6:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, filling in for the one and only Brian Wilson. We got an awesome party happening at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. I haven't been selling this enough, but it's going to be an awesome time. The last debate that we had out there was Joe Biden versus Trump. It was a party, and we're going to be doing it again October 1st for Walz v. Vance. And that is going to be awesome. Brian's going to be doing his whole show out there live. Then myself, Mandis, Murphy, we're all going to be joining him. And we want you to join us out there as well. Hop Springs in Murfreesboro, October 1st. Vance is going to mop the floor with Walz. Like, just spoiler alert. I don't want to give the whole thing away. But he's going to mop the floor with Walz. Peter Hamby was on CNN, and this is how he's talking about Tim Walz. He doesn't have anything nice to say about him. I don't know many people that do personally, but this is CNN, and this guy is just ripping Walz to shreds.
And Donald Trump, he plays golf with Bryson DeChambeau. Yeah. He goes on Theo Vaughn. He talks about Zins. And, you know, Democrats, I'm sorry, like, they haven't had a cool guy candidate in a while. And, like, with all due respect to Tim Walz, like, Tim Walz appeals to a lot of men. He also appeals to that guy, Bruce. Yeah. In Jeff's package. He's wearing a futurist female shirt. Yeah. Like, that guy in Madison, Wisconsin is already going to vote Democrat. Yeah. I'm sorry. How do you reach the young men?
Yeah. The guys that Tim Walz appeals to, spoiler alert, they're already going to be voting Democrat. That's just the way it is. On the other hand, J.D. Vance, he appeals to a lot of people. This was J.D. Vance yesterday in North Carolina, talking about Kamala Harris.
Part of the reason I want Kamala Harris to do more interviews is because there's so much comic relief in it. I really do believe that every time she answers a question, we gain about 100,000 votes. So I do selfishly wish that Kamala Harris would give more interviews to the North Carolina media, because then I think this state wouldn't even be close come November. And I don't know if you've seen, my friends, some of these interviews that she gives, but they'll say, you know, well, Kamala, give us your specific plan. What is your exact plan for how you're going to lower the grocery, food, and housing prices for American citizens? And she'll say, well, did you know I grew up in a middle-class family?
Right? And listen, she has practiced that line over and over and over again. She played it on the debate. Then she had an interview with a local ABC affiliate in Philadelphia. She used it again. And then at the National Association of Black Journalists, she used that exact same line again. That's like the new thing. It's, hey, how are you going to fix the economy that you've actually ruined and destroyed and broke? She goes, well, did I mention I'm a middle-class kid?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
I grew up a middle-class kid. I
believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams.
The ambition, the aspiration, the dream. I started my career as a prosecutor.
I was a career prosecutor for most of my career.
Having a background as a prosecutor, I intend to create an opportunity economy.
Developing and creating an opportunity economy.
What I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy.
Oh, it's an opportunity economy. You have the opportunity to make less money, pay more for your groceries, pay more for your rent, pay more for your energy. What an opportunity that we have in front of us. Don't worry about the last 3.5 years. Day one, she promises to fix it, and the opportunity is there for all of us. Gosh darn it. Am I jumping on the Kamala train? I think I might be voting for Kamala, guys. No. But Kamala Harris, she needs to do more. And you know who else needs to do more? J.D. Vance made this point. The press needs to do more. The press needs to actually ask Kamala Harris about her policies.
Now, I would love for some of our reporters to ask Kamala Harris about some of these policies and why she did all the things that she did, and now she's running away from them. She has flip-flopped on literally every single proposal that she ran on in 2020. Now she says she doesn't believe. I mean, she practically is at this point where she could walk into this room right now, and she could steal one of your red hats, sir, and put it on and say, make America great again, because Kamala Harris is practically just running on the Trump agenda right now. But as much as she's running on the Trump agenda, she has been in office for 3.5 years and she hasn't done a damn thing about it. Kamala Harris, stop talking about what you will do. Start talking about what you have done. And the answer is not a damn thing.
Honestly, not a damn thing. You could do it now, Kamala. Spoiler alert. You're still the vice president. It's 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 6:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how's it going? And my name is Chris Hand, filling in for Brian Wilson on the drive this afternoon. Normally hosting 9 to noon. You can always find the podcast for my show on Apple and Spotify in case you're at work. When I'm at work and you don't have an opportunity to listen, I'd love for you to check it out and be a part of that conversation as well. Thank you for joining us here today. The big story today is Matt Gaetz saying that there are 5 assassination teams in the country looking for Donald Trump. 3 foreign in nature, 2 domestic. You wouldn't know that if you were watching CNN, though. I have CNN on, and they just had a breaking news thing run across the screen, and it said Harris team, 200,000 sign up to view Oprah Kamala event tonight. They're holding a virtual event, Oprah and Kamala. 200,000 people signed up to watch. I don't know if they understand how the internet works, but that's light work. Trump did the interview with Theo Vaughn, and it was in the millions immediately after being posted. Trump did the Twitter Spaces with Elon, and there was millions of people watching to the point where they couldn't even get the thing started because the servers were crashing. And they're going to brag on CNN about 200,000 people, and they're going to run a breaking news piece of art before that. You guys are definitely breaking news. That's for sure. Because the breaking news that we see here over at WTN is what Matt Gaetz revealed less than 6 hours ago on Breitbart News, that there are 5 assassination teams in the country. 3 foreign, 2 domestic, and they knew about these teams before the second assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Yeah, they knew about it. They didn't search the perimeter. They didn't deploy drones, and they knew there were 5 assassination teams in the country. Unbelievable. Listen to Matt Gaetz and what he tells Breitbart News earlier today.
What were you saying about these 5 assassination teams?
We are aware of at least 5 teams in country that are geared toward killing Trump. And I think, 3 of them that we know are foreign in nature. 2 of them we know are domestic in nature. And that calls for a force protection that we do not have around the former president right now.
Okay, who were you talking to that talked about this?
A senior Department of Homeland Security official met with me, said they were aware of this and were concerned that the Secret Service was not providing sufficient support.
Yeah, not providing sufficient support, clearly. Clearly, they couldn't search a perimeter, they couldn't deploy drones before the president went golfing. A senior official with the Department of Homeland Security told Matt Gaetz this in his office. And they were concerned that the Secret Service weren't giving him enough support.
Was this like a hearing, or was this like in your office?
In my office.
This conversation. Okay. Now listen, Congressman, I'm just a guy here.
This guy interviewing him is like flabbergasted. He's like, I'm just a human. I don't know how to handle this information. And you can watch this guy telling this, and you can see the look of just shock on his face. It's on my Twitter account at Chris Hand on Air. Rep Matt Gaetz tweeted this out. He's like, "What are you telling me? This is unbelievable."
I don't know things. Why are these people? What do we do? Why are we just having assassination teams walking around?
Well, one reason is because when they enter the country, there was insufficient scrutiny to stop them from doing so. Right? I mean, the 3 of these teams are foreign inspired, from my understanding. Iranians, Ukraine.
Who had ties to Ukraine? Oh, that's right, the last assassin. Isn't it weird that I have to say the last assassin, and you know which assassin I'm talking about? What a time to be alive.
Pakistan, and the work is obviously challenging to protect a protective detail like a presidential campaign that is vigorous and out campaigning. But the concern that this person brought to me, and we're still investigating it, is whether or not, given this threat environment, you've got the right sniper teams, the right tactical teams, that when you are having a movement of the campaign, that you've engaged sufficient local law enforcement, and that you've got other resources. And, we've seen a few times where resources have been pulled off of the Trump detail for the Jill Biden detail or for the John Bolton detail. And we're going to question whether or not that was sound given what we knew about the efforts to kill Trump.
Yeah, it doesn't seem sound. And this is the same guy that was on everyone's radar, right? He was on their radar. That's what they always tell us. Well, he was flagged. He was on our radar.
Say the line, Bart. He was on our radar.
Yeah. That's what we get every time. We get the line. He was on our radar. He was on our radar. We didn't do anything about it, but we were aware. Unbelievable. So this information was known before the second assassination attempt. This information was known before what happened at that Tucson rally, where the people sitting behind Donald Trump stage right came down with some mysterious illness, some mysterious burns, and one woman went blind, and the Trump team is investigating that as a possible chemical attack. And they still haven't stepped up security? What? Your mind goes to dark places when you learn all this new information, does it not? Mine does, and I don't blame you if yours does either. And the lack of information that we get from the powers that be at the FBI, the DHS, all the letter agencies, the alphabet soup, it leads you to that speculation. 100%. Joe in Winchester, your thoughts on these attempts against Donald Trump?
It's a mess.
I think that's an understatement.
I think you had it straight before. I think Tampon Tim said it well when he said that Kamala was a great prostituter.
Yeah, honestly.
'Cause I don't think there's any doubt that there's a hit out on Donald Trump.
No, I think that is well documented at this point. 3 foreign teams, 2 domestic, 5 assassination teams in total, known by a senior DHS official telling Matt Gaetz in his office that he's a little bit nervous.
Well, who believes the government anymore?
Honestly.
Do you think Epstein killed himself and the cameras just happened to be off and everybody was not watching?
Oh, come on, Joe. Take off the tinfoil hat. That was a happy little accident that just somehow everything worked out in the favor of all the people that might have been on the Epstein flight logs.
So were the 30,000 emails that got bleach-bitted by Hillary and the cell phones that got crushed by hammers.
Who hasn't tried to power off their cell phone with a hammer, Joe? Come on. It's unreal, man. It's unreal.
The only thing at this point, I don't even know if Donald Trump can do anything really if he's elected, because the deep state is so entrenched and they're so terrified of Donald Trump. Terrified of him. And why?
Well, they're terrified of him because he's going to rip apart everything that they've been trying to do.
Exactly.
100.
You hit the nail on the head.
100%. I appreciate the call, Joe. And Donald Trump talked about this last night. He goes at Kamala Harris and he outlines Kamala's policies and what her record is. And this is what scares them the most. It's just the fact that this guy is unafraid to go speak the truth. And he spoke the truth on Long Island last night.
Kamala Harris is for wide open borders with terrorists and criminals pouring into our country, more inflation, even higher than the last 4 years, which was a record.
Yeah, she's for open borders. In fact, there's the whistleblower that testified today, former Border Patrol Chief Aaron Heitke, saying that they told him, keep the numbers on the low about the terrorists coming over the border.
Trump or Kamala, what do you...
You know? Keep that on the low.
She wants to pack the Supreme Court. Think of that one. And today I heard it all. I thought they wanted maybe 11, maybe they wanted 13. That's an unlucky number, so maybe it would be 15 instead of 9. But instead of 9, Kamala wants to bring up potentially as many as 25 justices.
Yikes.
So that they can rig the system like they rig everything else, including elections. And maybe one of the worst things of all, she is a true believer. And again, I said this before, if you want to defund the police, if you've been there even for a day, in your mind you want to defund the police even for one day, you are not qualified to be the president of the United States.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the way they've demonized the police, too, is it's got to be remedied. You know, I was talking on my show earlier today between 9 and noon. What kids are being encouraged by their parents these days to grow up and be police officers? Like, we haven't even seen the ripple effect from the demonization of police. We're not going to see that for a few more years. But kids aren't growing up saying, I want to be police officers. Nobody's encouraging their kids to be police officers. Even police officers I know. I have tons of great cops that call into the show all the time, and we love our police. But even they tell me, I'm not encouraging my grandkids or my kids to go into that line of work. Why? So you can put your life on the line every single night. And then should you have to take out a criminal who is a convicted felon, and then that criminal overdoses on fentanyl, you get blamed for it? Many such cases. Nobody's encouraging their kids for that.
Because anybody who wants to defund the police, we can't have it. We can't have it. It'll go down. It'll go down. We're not going to let our country fail. It's too great. And you know what? If we don't win this election, it's very possible we'll never have another chance. We have to do it.
He's absolutely right. It's 6:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
6:55 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Thank you so much to the team here, Chris Webber, Ken Weaver, Brian Wilson, for letting me fill in today on The Drive. I'm going to be back tomorrow in my normal slot, 9 to noon. You can keep up with me off the air on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. I'm going to be digging in all night on this story that Matt Gaetz has revealed that 5 assassination teams, 3 foreign, 2 domestic, are roaming about the United States targeting President Trump. It is easily one of the most insane stories. The DHS knew about it before the second assassination attempt, and none of it makes any sense at all. Not at all. And what do we know about the last assassin? Well, he was trying to recruit foreign fighters to go to Ukraine. And one of the countries that they believe could have had an assassination team in our country is Ukraine. Weird. Is it a coincidence or is there more there? We're going to find out very, very soon, I'd imagine, because a lot more people are looking into this story this evening than they were this afternoon. It's probably the biggest story in America. We'll talk about that coming up on the show tomorrow. Brian Wilson is out tomorrow. Matt Murphy will be in this slot. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The great one, Mark Levin, is on deck on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.